Happy Saturday morning, May 15, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Saturday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Saturday morning, so let's begin. First up, cities and towns statewide decide on COVID-19 regulations in light of updated CDC guidelines. Mask mandates will remain in place like Concord, Durham, and Portsmouth. Cities like Keene and Nashua will discuss what to do in meetings next week. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
To be a part of the team at Caesar Chimney Service, the only prerequisite is to be just a little bit crazy. We can train you to do everything that we...
Manchester doesn't have a citywide mask mandate. You just have to wear your mask inside city-owned buildings, and that's not expected to change anytime soon. But other cities and towns have different plans. The updated CDC guidance dropping mask mandates for fully vaccinated people has caused a lot of confusion.
Trying to sort the wheat from the chaff here is going to be our challenge at the local level.
Hanover Town Manager Julia Griffin says a number of community members have called her office in the 24 hours since the CDC's announcement. Everyone from people planning upcoming graduation parties to business owners with questions about mask regulations.
Retailers and restaurants saying, what do we do now? Are we throwing away everything?
The simple answer in Hanover and dozens of other places, including Concord, Durham, Exeter, Franconia, and Portsmouth, is no. Mask mandates will remain in place for now. Griffin and others citing the need for higher vaccination percentages as a driving force in these decisions.
We'd prefer just to wait another 4 to 6 weeks before we really have this sort of conversation in the community.
But other municipalities are feeling the pressure to consider changes. Plymouth Town Manager Catherine Lowe says the town select board will discuss the issue May 24th.
I was a little surprised, a little shocked. I just personally, I don't feel that we're ready yet.
The cities of Nashua and Keene, as well as the town of Lebanon, will all take up the issue of updated mask ordinances at meetings next week as well.
We're paying careful attention to what's going on around us.
And this is a very fluid issue right now. The one thing that these town managers agree on is that things can change quickly. Now, if you have a question about the mask mandate where you live, you should call your local leaders. Reporting in Manchester, I'm Nicole Lally, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire businesses, retail groups don't expect many mask policies changes for now. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Tractor has been in our family since 1955, when great-grandfather Pearlie and our grandfather George decided to sell tractor.
Trader Joe's is following new CDC guidelines, announcing today it will no longer require masks for fully vaccinated customers while they shop, becoming one of the first national retailers to make the move. On its website Friday, the store wrote, "We encourage customers to follow the guidance of health officials, including, as appropriate, CDC guidelines that advise customers who are fully vaccinated are not required to wear masks while shopping." CVS, Walgreens, and Macy's are reviewing their own protocols, but on a more local level, it appears many businesses are sticking with masks, at least for now.
I don't think it's going to change much.
Mike Summers, president of the New Hampshire Lodging and Restaurant Association, says many of his members are still going to require masks. It's a similar situation for the New Hampshire Retailers Association. The two agencies say while the CDC is allowing fully vaccinated people to ditch their masks, It's hard to tell who is actually vaccinated and who is not. Because of that, many will likely keep the requirement in place.
Most folks in the industry are trying to kind of ease out of this, right? So they don't want to just be a rip the Band-Aid off. It'll be a slow, gradual adjustment over a period of time.
And some businesses are going to continue to have a mask mandate, and some, they may have a more open store. They may not have a mask mandate. So it's up to the individual business.
Now, because this is such a fluid situation, both associations are asking for customer cooperation, not just with COVID protocols, but they say many establishments are understaffed, so they're really just asking for patience during this time. Reporting live tonight, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. State health officials answer your questions about COVID-19. Let's take a listen to that video.
For the easy and the complex, the small stuff and the big, we're here with the affordable local loans, easy to manage accounts, and financial advice to help you blaze a trail, figure stuff out, and make your money go farther. We're Granite State Credit Union. Live bold.
Well, between relaxed mask guidelines for those who are fully vaccinated and COVID-19 vaccines approved for those 12 and up, many of you have questions about this week's new developments. Two of the state's top health officials joined us live tonight to answer them. Masks and vaccinations were the focus of dozens of viewer questions submitted for state epidemiologist Dr. Benjamin Chand and Chief of the Bureau of Infectious Diseases Dr. Beth Daly. They join News 9 Live at 5:30. Some of you wanted to know if it's safe to vaccinate kids 12 and up against COVID-19.
These vaccines have been studied in children. They have been found to be very safe and very effective. And ultimately, they will protect the child from potential hospitalization or death, which can occur in children, rarely with COVID-19.
What about face masks? With the relaxed CDC guidelines for those who are fully vaccinated, do they still need to be worn in schools?
We continue to recommend that face masks be used in school settings, both for children and teachers and staff.
Dr. Chan says the state had a call with the CDC to discuss updated guidance Thursday, and he's hoping for more clarification around it in the coming days.
Many states across the country continue to have high levels of COVID-19. We're working very diligently to try and get vaccination rates increased. But to be frank, there is still COVID in the communities, and there's still risk.
Dr. Chan says even though the state lifted its mask mandate, it still has general guidance and best practices for businesses and organizations to incorporate layers of protection because not everyone has been vaccinated.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Three more Granite Staters die of COVID-19 as cases and hospitalizations continue to fall. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The past year has tested the toughness of every last one of us. Med retractors have...
More drops in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations in New Hampshire as vaccination rates climb. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Cherry.
And I'm Monica Hernandez. We haven't seen numbers like this since early November. Now, tonight, DHHS reported 178 new positive test results, with active cases falling below 1,400 for the first time in more than 6 months. Current hospitalizations also fell to 54. That is the fewest since November 6th. 3 more deaths were announced today, bringing that total to 1,329.
As for vaccinations, more than 55% of the state's population has gotten at least one shot, and more than 40% is now fully vaccinated.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. School nurses say precautions have kept COVID-19 from spreading in classrooms. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
A lot goes into taking care of your property. You need equipment with more reliability, durability.
It was a hotly debated point of contention over the last year, but nurses from 2 New Hampshire schools say with precautions in place, in-classroom transmission of COVID-19 is not a significant problem. At the elementary level, they say it appears to be incredibly rare.
We have so far been very lucky that we have not seen any transmission within the classroom. It is out in our community. That seems to be driving the spread.
At higher grade levels, school nurses say student activities tend to be where the virus gets around.
It has been outdoor sports leagues that have impacted our children, and they're out spending time together, group activities where it's not what they consider a controlled environment, which is the classroom.
The nurses say the masks, distancing, and other pandemic countermeasures are making the difference, and they encourage school districts not to rush into lifting those restrictions.
A large portion of our population in K-12 schools are not vaccinated yet, and the students far outnumber our staff, so it's, I think we need to take that into consideration before we start removing layers too quickly.
The nurses say while kids are resilient, they are seeing the mental health toll of the pandemic for some students. Still, others have thrived with a remote learning option. And with age eligibility for vaccines expanding, more kids are choosing to get a shot.
What do you think the vaccine uptake is going to be among those students who are eligible?
I'm hearing that it's coming in, that they're going. I see kids are dismissed and returned to school. They're having their vaccine, or they're out for a day because maybe some of the side effects. The numbers are starting to roll in.
You can watch the full interview with these school nurses Sunday morning on Close Up. Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Amherst home leveled by fire after explosion. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
A lot goes into taking care of your property. You need equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Like #1 selling Kubota compact tractors that can do it all right. Z-Series mowers that deliver a quality cut. And the Sidekick utility vehicle built for hard work and fun at 40 miles per hour. Kubota equipment lives up to the highest standards. Yours. Visit your local dealer today.
Chapel Tractor, where you'll notice the difference since 1955.
There was a giant boom 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. This is cell phone video captured by Sherry Pouliot, a woman who lives in this neighborhood.
There was a huge bang. Just the whole house shook. It sounded like someone took 20 concrete blocks and just dropped them on the floor.
Then, a few minutes later, she saw flames break out at the home, which was under construction.
And the flames were just over the trees. It was terrible. It was just painful to watch because it was you could tell all of it was going.
Firefighters were on scene shortly after 9:30.
It was just spreading out throughout the home, and I could see the structure was already starting to be compromised. We made sure that nobody was in there, and check for any injuries if somebody, was in there and is no longer, and then protecting our exposures. So other structures that are nearby is to make sure that we could protect those.
The state fire marshal's office says an explosion led to these flames. Windows were seen floating in the lake. Investigators say there were contractors at the house doing work at the time of the explosion. One of the contractors sustained burn injuries to his arms. Witnesses and people connected to this home are now being interviewed by the fire marshal's office.
So they'll have somebody here from the mechanical division as well as from the fire investigation side of it.
The fire chief tells us the house will have to be torn apart because it is a danger to this area. We will bring you more from the fire marshal's office when we get it. Reporting in Amherst, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New mask guidance sends states and businesses scrambling. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
Whether you're taking the back roads or navigating busy city streets.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this busy Friday. We're going to begin with fallout over the bombshell announcement by the CDC that fully vaccinated Americans no longer need masks indoors or outside. Well, tonight, local governments, retailers, and restaurants say the promise of the newly relaxed policy is running into the reality of rolling it out nationwide. As we come on the air, Walmart, the country's largest private employer and retailer, says it will now no longer mandate masks for workers or customers who are fully vaccinated, unless local rules require them. But other major stores, including Target, say they will continue to enforce face coverings to help protect their workers. And while more than a dozen states are lifting their mask rules, governors and mayors in some of the country's biggest cities and states, including New York, California, and Washington, D.C., say they're holding off until they review the federal guidance. Well, the CDC says it does plan to revise its recommendations for everything from schools to summer camps in the coming days. But tonight, experts say a patchwork of local regulations and rules set by individual businesses is leaving millions of vaccinated Americans facing frustration over just where they can show their faces this weekend. CBS's Meg Oliver is going to lead off our coverage tonight from New York City. Good evening, Meg.
Nora, good evening. 24 hours after the CDC released these new guidelines, some states are adopting them, while others, like here in New York, are taking a more cautious approach, which is confusing many Americans. Tonight, mask excitement leading to mask confusion as states, schools, and businesses struggle with how to handle new CDC guidance that vaccinated Americans no longer need to wear masks inside or out.
It's definitely been a curveball. It's going to put us in a hard spot with how we're, number one, keeping our clients safe, our staff safe.
From baseball stadiums to beaches, no masks are required. Governors in at least a dozen states saying they'll immediately follow the new CDC guidance. South Carolina and Utah going even farther, dropping face coverings for all public school children too. But in other cities and states, especially those that were hardest hit by the virus, there is caution tonight. New York, New Jersey, and California all saying mask mandates will remain for now.
If you're in a business or a public setting, we're not there yet. We're frankly not there yet.
From grocery stores to big box retailers, concerned that policy reversal could force workers to police who is vaccinated and who isn't.
When people come in and say they've been vaccinated, how do we know?
Major retailers, including Kroger, Starbucks, Target, and Home Depot, say they're keeping mask mandates in place. But Walmart and Trader Joe's announced masks are no longer required for customers who've gotten their shots, and stores won't be asking for proof.
There's no way for a business to know whether people are vaccinated or not. I think we're going to see a lot of big businesses go towards vaccine passports in order to keep their employees and their customers safe. But for others, they may just have to accept that risk.
The CDC says the decision is based on science and came after pivotal real-world data showing the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines were 94% effective in U.S. healthcare workers. But today, the CDC director acknowledged further guidance is needed.
What we need to do now at CDC and really across this nation is to take this guidance and revise our guidance. We need to look at our travel guidance. We need to look at our school guidance, our childcare guidance, our camp guidance.
A new survey found that even in January, when COVID was at a peak, half of Americans were already not wearing masks when mixing with the public. Nora?
Meg Oliver, thanks so much.
We just had the most amazing family vacation.
This is so exciting!
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for joining us for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. Goodbye, everyone.